Have you ever felt the weight of invisible chains binding you to a life, a place, or a person? A force so subtle yet so powerful that you barely notice its grip until the moment you decide to release it? Letting go is not just a decision, it is an awakening. It is like stepping out of a dense fog that you never realized surrounded you. The air feels lighter, the silence more profound. But as you take that first step away, something shifts. Not just within you, but within the unseen threads that connect you to everything and everyone. The world does not remain still in your absence. Relationships do not simply dissolve, they distort, reshape, and reveal their true nature. Perspectives do not fade, they sharpen, illuminating hidden truths that once lay dormant beneath the surface. And the people left behind, those who once leaned on your presence, begin to feel a ripple, a disturbance in the pattern they once relied on. For some, it is a mere whisper, a fleeting thought they quickly dismiss. For others, it is an earthquake, shaking the foundations they built upon your existence. But why? Why does the act of letting go, so seemingly personal, send tremors through the lives of those around you? The answer lies in the unseen spaces between souls, in the delicate balance of human connection. Because your presence was never just about you. It was a mirror reflecting their desires, their insecurities, their unspoken fears. And when you step away, you do not just remove yourself. You remove the reflection. You remove the illusion. And what remains is the void. A space that demands to be filled. A silence that forces introspection. A reality that can no longer be ignored. This is why letting go is not merely an action. It is a transformation, one that does not just alter you, but reshapes the very fabric of the world you leave behind. People do not see you for who you truly are. They see a carefully shaped vision of you, molded by their desires, shaded by their fears, and distorted by their insecurities. You are not merely a presence in their world, you are a mirror reflecting the fragments of themselves they cannot bear to confront. For as long as you remain within their reach, the illusion stays intact. They gaze into you and find comfort, believing they understand you when, in truth, they are only seeing what they wish to see. You become a canvas where their unspoken hopes and silent anxieties take form. But the moment you let go, the illusion begins to tremble. Not because of your absence alone, but because of what it forces them to see in themselves. A mirror, when shattered, does not merely break, it reveals. Its pieces, once smooth and whole, now lie scattered, each fragment holding a distorted reflection of reality. In your departure, they do not grieve the loss of you, they grieve the loss of the version of themselves they had projected upon you. And that realization unsettles them. Because in the depths of their consciousness, a question lingers, one they were never prepared to ask. Without you, who am I? The illusion is no longer whole. The mirror no longer stands. And in its place, they are left to face the raw, unfiltered truth, the one they had long sought to avoid. What happens when the presence that once shaped the rhythm of their existence suddenly dissolves? At first, there is resistance, a refusal to acknowledge the shift. They convince themselves that nothing has changed, that your absence is a passing shadow, momentary silence that will soon be filled again. But silence has weight. It lingers. And as time unfolds, the absence ceases to be a mere gap, it becomes a force of its own. An undeniable presence of emptiness that cannot be ignored. Then, the questions arise. Questions they never dared to ask before. Questions they had long buried beneath routine, distraction, and the comfort of familiarity. Who am I without you? The answer does not come easily. Because, in truth, many human relationships are not built upon love, but upon unseen dependencies. A silent exchange of needs disguised as affection. A delicate balance in which one becomes the anchor, the foundation, the steady force that others unconsciously lean upon. We do not always hold on to people because we cherish them, we hold on because we fear what remains in their absence. The thought of facing oneself without the reflection of another is a reality many choose to avoid. And yet, when the reflection disappears, when the external presence that once provided stability is removed, they are left with only themselves. No distractions. No reassurances. Just the raw, unfiltered truth of their own existence. For some, it is an awakening. For others, it is an unraveling. Because the void you leave behind is never just a void, it is a mirror, revealing what was always there but never seen. The ripples of your absence spread in ways unseen, touching the fragile corners of the mind where unspoken emotions linger. Some will feel a quiet melancholy, a sense of something missing yet intangible, like a house where a familiar presence has vanished but the echoes remain. Others will feel resistance and unease that twists into frustration, searching for something, someone to blame. They will weave stories in an attempt to explain your departure, narratives that paint you as distant, ungrateful, or even callous. Not because these tales hold truth, but because they shield them from an even more unsettling reality. They were tethered to you in ways they never fully comprehended. Your absence is not just an empty space, it is a mirror reflecting the dependencies they never wished to acknowledge. For some, the past will stir. Emotions long buried beneath the weight of routine will rise again, raw and unfiltered. Not because of what you did, but because your departure has forced them to look inward, to stand face to face with fragments of themselves they once chose to forget. It is not pain inflicted by you. It is the unraveling of illusions, the peeling away of layers they had wrapped around their deepest vulnerabilities. And for those who resist the truth, denial will take shape in many forms. Some will rewrite history to make your absence bearable, shifting blame onto you rather than looking inward. Others will retreat into silence, filling the void with distractions, unwilling to acknowledge the question that lingers in the depths of their thoughts. Was I ever whole without them? As time drifts forward, something peculiar begins to unfold. The memories they hold of you do not remain untouched by time, they shift, they reshape, they take on a form that is no longer entirely yours. They do not recall you as you truly were. Instead, they remember you as they need to. For some, your absence transforms you into something greater than you ever claimed to be: a symbol, an ideal, a figure placed high upon a pedestal sculpted from nostalgia. In their minds, you become irreplaceable, a presence that shines brighter in its departure than it ever did in its presence. For others, the void you left demands a different kind of narrative, one that soothes their discomfort, one that makes your departure an act of betrayal rather than a shift in destiny. They rewrite the past, recasting you as the antagonist in a story where they are the forsaken. It is not malice that drives them, but survival. Because to accept the truth that their version of you was never the whole picture would be to dismantle the foundation upon which their perception rested. But among them, there are those few who do not seek comfort in illusions. The ones who, in the quiet solitude of reflection, dare to ask themselves the question that lingers in the shadows. Did I ever truly know them? And in that moment, another thought emerges, unsettling yet undeniable. Or was I only seeing what I wanted to see? Your departure is not just a moment in time, it is a shift in the fabric of their reality. A silent yet undeniable force that fractures the rhythm they once relied upon. The space you leave behind does not remain empty, it echoes, it distorts, it reveals. Without realizing it, they begin to notice the fragile framework upon which their world was built. The carefully woven patterns of expectation and dependence now lay exposed, the unseen threads unraveling before their eyes. And as they attempt to make sense of the shifting landscape within them, a realization begins to take shape. The power was never in your presence. It was in your absence. For as long as you remained, the illusion persisted, the comforting belief that connections, emotions, and even people themselves could be held, shaped, and controlled. But the moment you stepped away, you shattered that belief with an undeniable truth. Control is an illusion. It is a mirage in the vast desert of human experience, vanishing the moment one dares to reach for it. And when the illusion fades, something unsettling happens. They are left standing before themselves, stripped of the reassurances they once held. The mind, now unshielded, begins to wander into places it once avoided toward the deeper, more unfiltered parts of existence that had long been veiled beneath the comfort of predictability. Some will embrace this moment, stepping forward into the unknown with curiosity. Others will resist, clinging to the remnants of the illusion, desperate to reconstruct what has already unraveled. But no matter the reaction, one truth remains. Your departure did not remove something from their lives. It revealed something they had always chosen to ignore. And what about you? Do you feel the gravity of your decision, the silent pull of something unseen? Letting go is not merely an action, it is a passage, a crossing into a space where the familiar dissolves and the unknown takes shape. It is an act of courage, though not in the way the world often defines bravery. It is not about standing tall in defiance but about surrendering to the vast, uncharted expanse within yourself. It is stepping beyond the edges of what you once knew, where the echoes of past connections still whisper, and the weight of past expectations lingers like an imprint upon your being. At first, solitude feels heavy, like a dense fog wrapping around you, muffling the sounds of the world you left behind. But as time stretches forward, something begins to shift. The silence, once daunting, transforms into something else. A presence. A clarity. A space where the noise of external influences begins to fade, leaving room for something deeper to emerge. You begin to see yourself, not as a reflection in the eyes of others, not as a construct molded by their needs, but as something untouched, something raw and unfiltered. You are no longer defined by the roles you played, the expectations you fulfilled, or the burdens you carried. Instead, you stand in the essence of who you have always been, beneath the layers, beyond the illusions. And in that moment, the solitude that once felt like a void becomes something entirely different. It becomes a home. Absence is often seen as a void, a space left behind, empty, hollow, unfulfilled. But what if it is not an absence at all, but a shift? A transformation. A passage into something new, something unseen yet inevitable. Your absence does not merely take something away from others, it reveals what was always there but never acknowledged. It forces the world to realign, to adapt, to recognize that nothing, and no one, is truly indispensable. Sometimes, the greatest act of presence is found in departure. Because only in absence do others begin to see the shape you once occupied. They must learn to navigate the spaces you no longer fill, to find their own balance, their own strength. And for you, the road ahead unfolds not as an ending, but as an awakening. A journey not of loss, but of discovery. So now, a question lingers in the air, waiting to be answered. Who am I when I finally let go? The echoes of your past may call to you, but they no longer define you. The weight of expectation may tug at your soul, but it no longer binds you. Because the greatest revelations do not come from grasping tightly, from holding on to what was. They come from the quiet, unseen power of walking away.